Namaste. Welcome to the Conscious Convo podcast. I am your host and teacher, Pippa Leslie. I'm here to share everything I learn, see, and channel. This podcast is for the conscious and curious beings who are ready to dive deeper into spirituality. I am so grateful you are here. Hi guys, welcome back to the show. So today I am joined by the beautiful Anara. I'm going to let you tell the listeners what that means, Anara, because it was beautiful. And I'm excited to talk to Anara today because she is in the counselling field and there's something that she does for clients that I'm really interested in. And I'm going to ask her that in a second once she said hi to everybody. Hi, Anara.
Hi, Pippa. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. I want you to tell everyone what your name means, please.
Well, my name it's not actually my given name. It's a name that I was given through my spiritual journey, and it means sunlight filtered through trees.
I love that. It's funny you've just mentioned that actually, because I'm calling that at the moment. I've asked Spirit to give me my spirit name because my full name is Philippa. And I want to have a name like Anara that means, is like a spirit name for me. So it's quite interesting. I didn't know that. So what is your real name?
Well, that is my real name.
Okay.
That's how I view myself now. But, it's actually quite a journey in changing your name. You have to, it changes a lot within your energy. And it was a really big process to do for me. I felt a lot of changes, physical changes in my body, a lot of tingling. I tingled for 3 months.
Wow.
Right throughout all of my body once I spoke the name out loud. Mm-hmm. But I sat with it inside of me for quite a long time before I stepped into it, really.
It's beautiful. I really resonate with it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I recommend it.
I'm calling it in. I've asked the universe to even if it's just like a name that I kind of have as a spirit name. I really love my name, Philippa, Pippa or Pip. There's the 3 different ones, but yeah, I just love to have that spiritual name, just to I really want. I've called that in, so I'm yet to find that, or it's yet to find me. So I'm excited to talk to you today, Anara, because there's something that I read on your profile on your website, and that is Pascha therapy. So when I first see Pascha, it takes me back to when I was like early 20s and I used to go to Ibiza in Spain and go to Partyland, and there was a club called Pascha. So when I see it, I'm like, oh, it sounds fun to me. Like, so, what does that entail, Pascha therapy? Because I've never heard of that and I'm really intrigued to learn about it.
Yeah, okay. Well, Pascha therapy has really changed my life, I'd have to say. And so it's run in Christchurch, and it's the teachings of Yasmeen. She's the principal teacher, and she channels Raman Pascha.
Wow.
And so he speaks through her. And Yasmeen set the training up, I think the first year was 2004.
Yeah.
And she set it up as a course to help people really learn the language of their feelings and to learn how to listen to our feelings, because we are quite feeling repressed.
Yeah.
And it started off, I think she was just going to do it as a 1-year course, but it grew. So now it's a 3-year course. Yeah. And, there's a website, there's the Pascha website that people can look at if they want to find more information about the training. So I did the course for myself, just because really I felt quite stuck in my life. And I'd always had a sense of myself as a spiritual being, but I felt really lost in this kind of crazy world. And I felt like I didn't fit. And I was having, some very major personal crises at the time. And but I've always been a seeker, and I've always wanted to know the more of life, the deeper questions, like, who am I? What does it mean to be a spiritual being? Yeah. Why am I here when this life around me seems so contrary to what I know and feel inside? And so that going and doing that training, well, I actually started off by seeing Raman, so you can have personal sessions with Raman, and that sort of flew a little bit in the face of my background, because my father was a Presbyterian minister, and so it wasn't particularly confronting for me, but I really remember hearing the nervousness that I had when I listened to the recordings of that. Here I'm actually am talking to spirit, rather than kind of the idea of spirit from a sort of a church perspective. And I had so I had these personal sessions with Raman, and then when Yasmeen set the training up, I was like, oh, I definitely have to do this, because what Raman is one of the beings, the enlightened masters that is here guiding humanity, and so he brings a very beautiful and strong message with his energy, and the thing that I mostly felt was a whole lot of love, in a very tangible way that I'd never really felt before when I sat listening to him, and then working on my own personal growth. And then, well, how do I find that within myself? That was really the journey that I undertook. So I did the 3-year Pascha training, initially, as I said, for my personal growth, and then had more desire to bring this therapeutic approach out into work. And then I did the Pascha therapy training. So I trained as a Pascha therapist, which was another 2-year training on top of that. And that meant that I could sit in the classes and, work as a teacher, initially as a student teacher alongside, and then working as a teacher. And I'm so deeply grateful for that training. It really has changed my life. And as a result, I've got so much more of me. I thought I had me.
Yeah.
It's a strange thing. I thought I had me, but really by doing that training, it helped me release the tension that I was holding in my body, actually get in touch with a lot of feelings that were held in my body, and then really open to listening to the message and the guidance in those feelings, and then being able to, take some steps to reclaim, actually, this is who I am. This is me. This is my nature. And there's such a strength, when we start really tuning and listening to ourselves. And, we all have our own guidance. And that's really what Raman trains us, or was encouraging us to do, is to turn and listen, go inward, seek the knowledge that we have inside of us. But you can't do that without really connecting into your feelings, because it's your feelings that are the guide. They're kind of your first language. We're feeling beings way before we're thinking beings. If you think of children, they come in sensing and tuning in to their mother's energy in particular, and to the environments around them. And they've actually shown that through experiments as well. So our body is all geared up to sense energy, but sadly we have been almost trained out of that. We've learnt that the economic model encourages us to focus on the mind. The education system encourages us to focus on the mind. And we're not doing so well through that process. We're missing a big part of who we are. So this training for me was really about reclaiming, remembering, and then stepping into that energy and then bringing that to the clients I work with. It was a long answer.
No, it's beautiful. I love listening. And I think I was going to ask you a question. You kind of already answered it. Was, there's quite a lot of people who would feel that stuck energy in their life. They have those like crises where they're going through divorce or losing a loved one, or, stress of finances, whatever it is that a challenge arises. And I think you answered part of that when you said, going, exploring who you are, find out more who you are. And, if you want to elaborate on that question, if someone was listening right now and they are in that stuck energy and they feel like their life doesn't have meaning, would you add anything to that? Would you give someone advice for that? Like, what would you tell someone to do if they were in that energy right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I faced. And what was important was that was actually a signal to tell me that I had to start looking at myself in a different way. Yeah. I had to start creating a more conscious relationship with what I was feeling and what I was thinking as well. So we often go, we're stuck and we don't like what's happening to us and we just want to, get rid of it. But actually really looking at, well, what's happening inside of us so that we are stuck? Because really we're stuck in our energy somewhere. Yeah. Something is held inside. And then, there's another part to it, is that you might be on a track and, from the outside, and I guess this is what happened for me, was I had learned to pretend that I was okay. And so people would have looked at me and thought, well, I was quite sort of vibrant and I was living, what seemed a pretty good life. But on the inside, I felt absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
And the thing that was missing was me, because I was pretending to be what I thought others wanted me to be. And I felt ashamed that I didn't have that the external expression didn't really match the internal feelings. And then I just kept pretending. And I just got more and more and more miserable. And then I realized that the misery was saying that was the key to actually, I need to start going inward. I needed to start really listening to, well, what are my feelings? And I had to learn how to be with them, not run away from them.
Yeah.
So that's a really important bit, because obviously there's so much going on. And if we're holding on to a lot of feelings, which, most people are in their life, because we haven't been taught how to be with what we feel. If we're holding on to feelings, then they are all in the cells of our body. They're waiting for us to connect in with them so that they can give us their message. They're not just there to be annoying. They're actually a guide. And they directly relate to what are your needs. But, and a lot of the work I do when I'm working with people is I help people go back to connecting into the feelings that they had when they were a child. So often the feelings that we have now as an adult, we can have a memory and a sense of, well, how long have you been feeling that energy for? And then if you can get an age, then often there'll be memories that come. And then a sense of, well, why did you have that feeling initially? And then what is the need that you had as a child? And then if we can learn to know these parts of us, we can start taking care of them. We can learn how to parent our younger selves and really honor our journey. And that's why I've called my website Compassionate Counseling, because the biggest act of love you can do for the world is to be loving of yourself.
Mm.
And if you're loving of yourself, you are going to bring in more of a calm energy into the world. You're not going to be reactive or so reactive to other people's experiences. We communicate, with our energy.
Mm.
So people will feel your presence, that you have a calm way, or you are able to witness and hold somebody else's, feeling experience without trying to shut it down and run away from it.
Mm.
And sadly, that's what most of us had when we were little. I mean, our society is is very good at let's repress feelings, and we've learned it for generations and generations. And I think, what's recently happened around the whole mandates and the division has been created in society, there's so much wounding that's happened and is continuing to happen. And there's a real opportunity now for all of us to step more into into our hearts, into that sort of light consciousness of who we are. But to do that, we have to know about the shadow side within us and create a really loving relationship with that part.
I love everything you said. I could just, like, listening to you soothes me as well. It's like you've already got that loving presence, and it reminds me of what my spiritual teacher said, Wayne Dyer. He said, "You can't give away what you don't have." And he said, if someone was to squeeze an orange, what would come out of the orange? And, obviously it would be orange juice. So if someone was to squeeze you today, what would come out of you? And that analogy is around, you can't give away what you don't have. So if you don't have love to give away, so if you're filling yourself with love, that's why you change how people say things. I've seen a lot of this toxic stuff online about, you can't expect someone to love you if you don't love yourself. Like, I don't agree with that. It's around actually having a love for yourself so you can give that love away. Because when you give that love away, that's all that matters. Because certain people are coming into your life to teach you certain things and to help you grow and to challenge you and to find more of who you are. But it is literally, I always imagine that, if someone was to squeeze Pip today, what would come out? And sometimes frustration may come out, a bit of frustration, a bit of sadness, depending on what's going on in your life. But if you bring it back to love and into your heart space, all those emotions are just part of this human experience, and allowing, like you mentioned, allow them to come in, feel them, explore them. Why are you feeling this way? And not just be like, I need to push this sadness away. And it's about actually being in the sadness, because we came to earth to experience all these different emotions, and they all feel very different at times, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's what makes us human too. And if we didn't have this, beautiful array of emotions available to us, then we're going to miss out on a whole lot of a beautiful human experience. But it's what builds empathy for others. So there's that side of thing that, if you're not comfortable with your own emotional, feeling challenges and able to work with them, then you're not going to be able to be present with somebody else. And, so another part of my work, I suppose, is working with parents and teachers around how do we teach this language to children, and how do we model it within ourselves. And if you don't know it for yourself, then when a child's in front of you and they've got this big feeling, the tendency is going to be to either say, "Oh, you're all right," let's kind of get over this, or or just to either maybe tell the child off, stop crying. And I think many of us have experienced that when we're younger. And we shut ourselves down. We shut that part of us down, feeling that we are not okay if we have that expression. And then that's how we start building these blocks and our barriers to feelings. So there's a lot of work to do to reclaim this, the power. Because that's really what it is. There's a power within us.
My partner and I, we do a lot of conscious parenting with my partner's children. I'm yet to have my own, birth my own. And it's interesting because I feel like we are the building blocks for the future generations, because you think about the generations before us were again shut down, not as conscious as we are now. So all this conscious coming into our lives right now is setting the future for our generation. It's like a cut point. It's like, we're building this now for the future generation. So our children can say, well, my parents did X, Y, Z. They sat with me. We do it with our children a lot. If they're upset, angry, we sit with them and say, why are you feeling this way? What's going on? Sit with them and say, it's okay to feel that way. How do you want to, instead of breaking something for anger, sit with the anger. I'll hold your hands. What do you need? So we're very conscious around, not just shut up and get over it. It's around, why are you feeling that way? What do you need in this now moment? And when you actually ask a 7-year-old what do they need, they're kind of a bit taken aback by like, what? Because it's especially when you get to my 11-year-old, you ask him what he needs. It's a hard question, because sometimes when they get older, they don't really know what they need. And when you don't find out who you are and what it is you want in this life, the need part can be quite challenging to answer. I got asked that question by a previous mentor when I was separated from my partner for the 18 months, and we were doing some relationship stuff, helping us, go through the trauma and the triggers in our relationships, which was profound. And she said, what do you need in your relationship? And I just was like, I really don't know, because I hadn't been asked that question. But when I sat with it and went in, really the level of conscious I'm at now, I don't really need anything, because I'm not in need of anything. But when I think of the 3D human self, I need, we talk every evening about our day, things that may have bothered us. I need that debrief, like a bit of a, what happened in our day? Did anything bother you? I need a hug, I need a cuddle, I need a kiss, so it's and they're the things that I want, and the want and the need can be quite hard, especially for children, because children kind of see that as the same thing, wants and needs.
Yeah. Asking a child that, that is a difficult question, because often, one, they're not really going to be empowered to be able to answer it in the first place. And it's often going to be dependent on the energy that's around them. So, at the root of the need really is the need to feel connection.
And safe too. They want to feel safe and loved.
Well, so if they feel that connection, like here's mum or dad or the teacher or whoever who's holding that space, then that helps the child, that helps the feeling relax and open. The feelings will flow and they'll move and they'll change if we allow them to. And that's often why breath work, and you can see that there's a number of people doing breath work these days to help connect physically into the body, and then to help to connect into that emotional body, because that's that energy of love that comes in on the breath. A child will need that to feel that connection with the parent, that the parent is absolutely able to hold a space that says, I'm here, even when you are, full of all of this motion. I'm here, I'm available, and they can feel that connection. But, it's something that Raman told me. I did ask him around, I was working with a little girl, and she was having some, quite big feelings. She was in quite a challenging situation at home. She had very loving parents, but just challenging situations due to other things out of her control. And I could see that she was really sad one day. And I said to her, oh, you're sad, because acknowledging feelings is obviously really important. And she immediately went into, no, I'm not. I'm not sad. And she was, I think, 6 maybe at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's really strange. I didn't say this to her, but I was thinking this, because I can see you're really sad. But she just went straight into denial of it. And then I talked with Raman about it, and I said, what was that about? And he said, because she's already learned that to say what you're feeling, to acknowledge that you are feeling anything other than okay or happy, is that you're going to feel criticized.
Yeah. That belief was
so that belief's already there at the age of 6. So there has to be a point when children and adults are expressing what they feel, that they're actually ready to express it.
Yeah.
Like, we can sense that somebody might be sad or angry. And if you go up and say, oh, you're actually really angry, you might get that anger back at you in a way of, no, I'm not, an immediate denial, because they're not ready.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm saying that connection creates a space to allow whatever that person's experience is, so they can eventually then get to a point, go, actually, I'm really sad. And when we're really, truly connected in and feeling the feeling ourselves, then the need comes quite clearly. Actually, I'm really, really sad, and I need a hug.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need presence. Yeah. Or I need this to be expressed. Because then it's the feeling that's speaking. It's not the mind and the thoughts about it. It's actually the energy and the feeling.
At the present moment as well, isn't it? You start to connect to that presence, and it's okay to want that hug and that, because I do it now. Like, I had a really sad day a few weeks ago. I'd not really felt my nan a lot, and I'm meditating at night, and I said, can you please just make yourself present more, so I know you're around. I know you are around, but just want to feel you a bit more. And I sit here every morning to do a meditation and my little, morning ritual. And honestly, I have music on in my ears while I'm journaling, and I just could smell her, I could feel her, I could just sense her. And I just cried all day. Like, it was like I was so emotional. I'd look at a bird and I'd cry, because my nan used to love birds. And then I'd see like flowers and I'd just cry. And then I remember meeting my friend for a walk, and we walked over to the park, and all these memories were coming up that I'd not thought of for a long, long time, or ones that I'd not even remembered consciously. And just being with a friend, and she hugged me, and she held me, and we sat on the bench, and it was just, and I said, I don't have to explain why I'm sad. I just feel sad today, and that's okay that I feel sad. And the next day I was just so grateful to have been able to release something.
Yeah.
And that was, I think we over explain why we feel some way. And that's something I've been working on, is that I was a people pleaser. So I would, again, if I said no to something, or if I'd not agreed with something, I had to over explain why I was feeling that way. So I think that that's a big thing for children too, as you get older, is that we over explain why we feel that way. We're actually just saying a statement of, I feel sad today, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's permission to feel. I mean, that's one of the biggest gifts you can give yourself, and then to give others. Because then there's no judgment that this is wrong or you shouldn't be feeling this way. And it's that space that then creates the feeling to start moving and changing and show what's needed. And show the support that's required. So we do have it all absolutely within us. And we have this right from, well, if you think of babies in the womb, of course, they're feeling everything that the mother feels. So we come in already primed with this beautiful system that keeps us open, really. but it's all been hijacked through, yes, this kind of really strong
And conditioning.
economic model and conditioning, and years of conditioning, generations of conditioning really. And so
It's knowing that you can decondition. That's the big thing, isn't it? That we have to teach, is that just because something is programmed, we can reprogram it. It's important, and it just takes time and commitment and perseverance.
yeah, and I mean that's the beauty of love, is because love is that place of sacredness that recognizes that you're, when you're holding that space for somebody, you're seeing that, yeah, here's the person and here's their challenges and their growth, but recognizing that within there's a spiritual being, and that you're holding that space to allow the person themselves to get to know that part of them.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
So
It's beautiful. Like, it's just, when you think about the work you do for others, it makes you feel so grateful. And because obviously when you're working with people, it's actually helping you to learn and grow as well.
oh yeah, every day, every moment. It feels like an opportunity to learn and to expand and deepen, really. Deepen
So
into yourself.
have you always been spiritual? Like, was obviously, I know you went through your moment where you were stuck, but do you think that there was a big spiritual moment for you where you had like a bit of a quantum shift?
Well, I was always really aware of my spiritual nature when I was a child, and I had a great love for Jesus Christ. But growing up as a minister's daughter was challenging, I can say. There's lots of projections, from others around how I should or shouldn't be, and then also the church wasn't. It didn't work for me. It felt it contradicted, what was being spoken about and what I saw and felt, and so I, pushed away from it all in my teenage years, and but in my heart, I knew, that I was a spiritual being, and then I, set out to try and live my life, and I sort of took comfort in the outdoors. I used to do a lot of outdoor stuff, and I love nature. But I ended up feeling, I sort of got this attitude of, if I just, climb another mountain or kayak another river or something, I'll feel happy. I'll just, and I think this is what people do, and mine just happened to be around the outdoors, but for other people it might be, if I just achieve this, or if I just make this amount of money, then I'm going to feel happy. And it just didn't work.
Yeah.
I just kept getting more and more miserable. And then it really was this point where I got to where I was like, I don't really want to be here anymore. But I had this sense of, okay, well, I'm hearing this message inside of me, but I wouldn't act on it, because I knew about reincarnation when I was little. I remember speaking about it with my sister, that, I know what we do. We come back. And so I thought, well, I'm not going to get to the end of I'm not going to finish this life and go, okay, I have to come back and repeat all of this. So if it's painful, then, let them be growing pains. Let them be things that you look at and go, okay, what is this really showing me? I'm stuck, but it's often really just our thoughts that are stuck.
Yeah.
And so something we need to connect into ourselves in a different way. And it's that which really, that time of being stuck was the time of the shift for me, where I started going, okay, I really need to start attending to my feelings. And then it was that helped me really start identifying my spiritual nature more.
I love that. Just such like,
Yeah.
it's just like when you talk about it, it's really calming. You've got that calming energy. Like I feel really
Yeah, well,
calm.
yeah. And that's the thing, that's the power we can have within ourselves for our own lives. But you imagine they've done studies of people meditating and then being able to change the crime levels and when they're focusing on a city. So we have incredible power within us to create change without really actually needing to do anything.
Yeah.
It's all about energy.
And going with
So
it.
when we go within, and that becomes so full within us that it just radiates out of us anyway, and we go about our day. I mean, that's an amazing power within our own lives, but also for the world, and it's so needed.
It
It
is
is so needed now.
It's growing.
Yeah.
You can feel it growing. It's getting better day by day.
Yeah. So it feels, I know you said you were going to ask me a question at the end, but this is something that people can do right now, is, find that space for yourself where things do feel a bit calmer. And often that is nature.
Yeah.
Turning to nature and, sitting in the sun, letting yourself fill up inside to help meet your own needs. And the more you do that, it's all the little steps that we do on a regular basis that actually create the more permanent changes in our lives. And if you start doing that for yourself and taking that pause through the day just to connect into your breath, to actually ask, well, how am I right now? What do I notice when I take the breath in and I begin to feel inside of me? Really listening and creating some time for yourself.
Yeah.
You can, it doesn't take long to sit in the sun, 5 minutes even, and just go, okay, or to, put a warm blanket around you if it's a cold day, or listen to the rain. Get off the technology for a while.
Yeah, I'm craving
When
that.
you start, when you start listening to yourself, though, you might find that there's things inside that you go, ugh, these feel a bit scary. And that's why, I really feel quite strongly that a lot of us have been trained as Pascha therapists. And, most of us are in and around Christchurch, but I think there are a few others scattered throughout New Zealand. And I think possibly that some of the training is happening overseas now, just, that there are people that can hold that energy, that space, because a lot of the other types of counselling, they can acknowledge feelings, which is obviously really important, but then it's like, okay, what do you need to do to shift this? And then it comes back up into the thinking. Whereas Pascha therapy is actually, let's really feel the feeling, move into that energy to connect in, and then listen to the wisdom, because that's what then, as you open to it, then your intuition comes in.
Yeah.
So it's really connecting into the self.
I love that. So I know you've kind of already answered a little bit of question 2, but question 1 for you was, if you had a magic wand, how would you use it to save our world?
It's an interesting question. If I think, often what I see with people when they come to see me is they might be aware of feelings and they just want them to go away. Like, just give me something, and this is what we get. We'll go to the doctor, and the doctor so quickly these days seems to give a pill for you feeling something. Let's give you a pill to take it away. if we start actually claiming our own power, that's what's going to create change. And then we learn through that growth. So we're empowered through doing that. So it's not like let's just take this all away. It's actually, let's really look at this and start remembering who we are. That we are more than just the humanness, and that's within all of us. And if we can start treating ourselves that way, and we get curious about who we are, and then we can acknowledge that the light that is so obviously apparent in other people, and then other people it might be, quite dulled down, but within there's still that light, then we're going to start being a lot kinder to each other. So that would be one thing, actually.
Yeah.
The magic wand would be kind. Be kind to yourself first. And then that kindness will naturally spill over and out towards others.
You can't give away what you don't have.
No. No, well, it won't be authentic. Or, well, actually, no, I've changed that, because some people are really, really kind to others, but they aren't kind to themselves.
I know.
Yeah. So this is about when you're being kind, if you start with yourself, you're actually recognizing that your own worthiness.
Yeah. And that this is about you, it's about your journey, but what you can do for others, and that service to others is really important.
Yeah. But you are others.
You're connected to others. We're all connected. It's like the ego part of our mind says we're separate from everybody else, but we're actually not.
No, we're not. And so if I'm being kind to me, then that is the greatest service I can give to others, because I'm recognizing that everybody else is actually part of me, and I am going to have more love to give. I'm taking care of my own wellness cup, so that the energy then can flow through me. And what I'm finding more for me now is because it really feels to me that has been my biggest lesson, is around kindness to myself. As I've opened to doing that more and more, the kindness that comes through me feels like it also is more than just the kindness from me. It's like the kindness from that sense of divinity and reaching out and to touch others. So that would be my magic wand.
Yeah. I know you've kind of answered question 2 about what are ways people can raise their consciousness, but is there anything you want to add to that?
So the breath work is really important. There's such a gift in each breath, and it's something we really take for granted. So conscious breathing is different from just your every moment breath, because conscious breathing is really bringing more of the observer, of self into the breath, and then getting to see, well, where does my breath go? Where does it get held and stuck in my body? And then what if I brought loving breath into that part of me? What happens then? What unfolds? So doing some conscious breath every day. Starting the day with, or showing gratitude at least somewhere during the day. Not kind of a pretend gratitude, like, oh, I should do this, so I'm going to do it. But actually, I really just feel grateful for the flowers, Or for me, it's often the bird song.
Yeah.
When I hear bird song, I think, oh my goodness, that bird's singing for me. It's singing for itself, but it's singing for me. And so there's so many ways we can receive love. But we have to be receptive to it.
And open
It's
to it and
available.
open our eyes, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the whole part of worthiness.
Mm.
So challenging some of those beliefs around, oh, actually, I'm not worthy. It's like, no, that's not true. And you can change that.
Yeah.
And that's the journey to change and open it. So, yeah, really bringing those, that love that's available and bringing it into your life in all these different ways. There's so many things we could do.
I know. It's beautiful. The last question, which I haven't told you about, it's a surprise, is if you had the whole world at your attention right now, what would you say to them?
Turn to love. Turn back to the heart. Come back to the heart. Because that will guides the next steps. Because this being in the mind, it's hurting us.
Yeah.
It's such a deep level personally, in our communities. So turn to the heart. And trust that when you go there, which can take courage, it can take so much courage to go, okay, this isn't working and I need to start connecting in a different way. We can get really scared about what we might be shown, but trust that you'll be given the guidance step by step. If you're given a step feels like it's too big, then that comes from the head. Yeah. Your intuition works in a way that it gives you the next thing that is actually within your power to do. So by turning back to the heart, you're going to get more of yourself for a start.
What a lovely way to finish. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. How can people find you, Anara?
So I've got a website, which is compassionatecounselling.co.nz, and the counselling's got 2 L's in it. So that's the main way to find me at the moment. I am on Facebook page, but I haven't kind of worked out how to sort the link out yet. So perhaps I'll say that the next time. Yeah. I'm trying to keep up to pace with technology, but I'm not particularly.
Sometimes it's hard. You don't want to be on it too much. I know it's hard sometimes. Well, I'll definitely put all of your links in the show notes so people can find you for sure and reach out to you.
Yeah. Lovely. I look forward to talking with you again, Pippa.
Me too. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode, guys. If you did, please leave a 5-star review and share it with your family and your friends. If you've any questions for Anara and I, please reach out to us, email us, send us a message. But we really hope you enjoyed it, and wherever you are in the world, we're always sending love and light to you. So take care, guys. Bye.